Hello, good morning. Dr. Bradley Shepard here, Simply Chiropractic, and today is a nice cold day here in Las Cruces. It's very cold. It's going to be cold all week, so hopefully all of you out there are staying warm and staying comfortable. And thank you for joining me today, even if you're watching a live if you're watching this live, great. If you're watching a recording of this, thank you so much for watching. I hope that some of this information that I share with you on these Facebook Live events is helpful, or at least a little bit entertaining. I know sometimes I'm not really the most exciting person in the world, but I do have fun doing these little snippets and Facebook posts and live events. And I've started doing half an hour, 40-minute webinars every other week. And those have been fun, even though I've been a little under the weather for the last couple of them. So it's hard to get too excited when you're a little under the weather. But we got another one coming up tonight, and I'm very excited for this. If you maybe you've seen my ads on the Facebook, if you have, go ahead and check it out. So today, the topic is math and chiropractic, and what does that have to do with anything? What does math and chiropractic have to do with each other? And really, the only answer is that they're two of my interests. They really don't have a whole lot of correlation. They're both interesting subjects to me. In fact, I was back in the day going to be a math teacher. That's what I wanted to be when I was growing up, going through high school, starting college. I wanted to be a math teacher. Unfortunately, once I started taking some of those higher advanced math classes, not the math classes, but the education classes actually, I learned very quickly that the education system isn't set up to do what I wanted it to do, and it didn't really teach. It didn't fit my teaching philosophy, so I had to find something else that would be more in alignment with my philosophy. Well, I had had the experience of a chiropractor before when I was 23, and I had some low back pain. I was working at a retail store, and I had some low back pain, and so I went to what my cousin actually says you should go to my chiropractor. So I went ahead and made an appointment. Went in, got my first chiropractic treatment, and it was absolutely amazing. I felt so good after that. He actually we had scheduled a follow up appointment for the next week, but me, bad patient, I felt so good. I didn't feel like I needed his services anymore, so I did not go. I ended up canceling my appointment with a gratitude in my heart. I cannot believe that this helped me in one visit, and that was my experience with chiropractic. It was a great experience. Unfortunately, later on, I learned that that's not a very typical experience. One treatment usually doesn't do the trick. I think, one of those lucky ones where the one treatment actually did the trick. So after I was considering math and teaching math and decided that that wasn't what I wanted to do, I looked into chiropractic a little bit. And the thing that caught my attention with chiropractic is they said one of their marketing ploys was get to the underlying cause of the health problems. Don't be just a doctor, be a healer. That kind of piqued my interest a little bit because I did understand a little bit about medicine. I understood enough, and I watched enough television commercials to know that if you had a certain condition, you could take a certain drug, and that would fix everything. The reality is, I did not believe that. I did not believe that um, just taking a pill could solve your health problems. I understood that it could help with the symptoms, but I didn't ever get the impression that it would get to the underlying cause of the problems. And that's where the chiropractic, world, get to the underlying cause of the problem. That's where it really struck a chord with me. I thought that made a lot more sense. Um, let's get to the underlying cause of the problem rather than cover it up with medications or just have people take a pill. To me, that made a lot more sense. It was more exciting to me, okay, because then we had to, be more of a detective and try to figure out, okay, you've got these symptoms. Why do you have these symptoms? What's going on here? And so, this idea about digging a little bit deeper intrigued me. And so I went for it. So I began chiropractic school. Now, before we even started chiropractic school, I had to take, the basic sciences. I had to take some biology. I had to take some chemistry, some organic chemistry. I had to take some anatomy and physiology. And so I took those prerequisite courses, and then okay, let's go to chiropractic school. So we started the chiropractic school. In the first 4 years, we were learning. It was almost like medical school. We were learning all about the heart. We were learning about the lungs. We were learning about the eyes, ears, nose, mouth. We're learning about the GI tract. We're learning about reproduction. And throughout these courses, we took OB-GYN classes. Who would have thought that a chiropractor would be taking an OB class? But we did. We took a class in pharmacology, just one course in pharmacology to understand how medications work and the idea behind medications. But we took a lot of anatomy, a lot of physiology. We took a lot of biomechanics, and of course we took a lot of adjusting classes. We took a lot of x-ray and radiology classes, and this is just standard part of the chiropractic curriculum. In my journey through chiropractic school, we learned, perhaps falsely, that almost everything came from the spine as far as health problem goes. Now, the idea is, and this kind of makes sense, the idea is that your brain communicates through your body, through your spinal cord and through spinal nerves, and all of that passes through the spine. I get that. I agree with that. These nerves can control a lot of body functions, and they do. We can map out where the nerves go. For example, the nerves that come from the specific spinal level, T4, they'll go to the gallbladder, for example. And so the idea of chiropractic was, okay, if we can eliminate any nervous system interference from these nerves, then our body works better and it can heal itself. I think part of that is true. I think part of it is not exactly true. The part that I think is true is I think that there is some influence that the spine has on the spinal nerves. You can pinch a nerve and it creates a decrease in function. We know this. Um, does joint dysfunction cause some problems? Yeah, it can certainly cause some problems, especially musculoskeletal problems. Can it cause nerve interference? I'm not sure about that. The science doesn't necessarily support that. However, in my clinical experience, I do have some reports that come back that say, hey, I had some pain in my thoracic spine. We've been working on the thoracic spine, and my heartburn has gotten better. And I haven't done anything different except for seeing the chiropractor. I get these stories in my office every once in a while, so there's probably something to it, but I don't think it's the whole story. And so when I finally discovered functional medicine, this is 12 years after I began my chiropractic career, this made a lot more sense because we're not just looking at the spine as the underlying causes of health problems. We're looking at the spine, we're looking at the blood work, we're looking at the lifestyle, we're looking at your diet, we're looking at any toxicity exposure, we're looking at any emotional stresses, and we're looking at all of this. It's a much more holistic approach than a spine, or in the case of modern medicine, a symptom. So the symptoms will lead us to a diagnosis. So symptoms are very important to take a look at, but we want to understand what's causing the symptoms. And a lot of times those symptoms are caused by hormonal or nutritional imbalances. The beauty about that is we can find that in the blood. And so when I started combining chiropractic with the blood work and with this idea of functional medicine about getting to the underlying cause of the problem, no matter where it's coming from, I started seeing much better results in my clinic. And so this is where I'm at now. This is fantastic stuff. And before the functional medicine, I had maybe an 80% success rate with musculoskeletal conditions, which is fantastic. But I wasn't satisfied with that. What about that other 20%? What is going on with that other 20%? It's certainly not musculoskeletal, although there is a musculoskeletal component, and we would work on it and work on it, work on the same thing every week, and nothing was getting better. And so before I had the functional medicine tools, I would have to say, I've done everything that I can do for you. I'm sorry, good luck. And that just made me feel awful. And so with this functional medicine, I have another tool in my bag where I can say, okay, this isn't working. Let's try this. Let's do something else. Let's try to figure out exactly what's going on. Maybe we need some other specialists. Maybe we need to work with your doctor with some medications until we get this figured out. Maybe we need to work with a specialist, a rheumatologist, or whatever it is. But this opened my whole world. And so now I don't ever have to say, I'm sorry, I've done everything I can do for you. Good luck. No, now I can say, okay, this isn't working. Let's try something else. Let's figure this out. And ideally, let's figure it out within the first week of you coming into my office. Let's do some blood work. Let's do some x-rays. Let's do, our orthopedic tests. Let's take a look at your liver enzymes. Let's take a look at your hormones. What is going on? What is causing this problem? Let's look at your lifestyle. Let's look at your work environment. What's going on there? What's your ergonomics like? Is there any toxicity exposure to you? Any chemical exposure that might be causing these problems? And so we have a much better tool to find out the underlying causes of the problem. And so I hope that this kind of gets you thinking a little bit about your symptoms and about, okay, how can we figure these out? If you need a little bit of help, please call the office. There's lots of help on Google and especially Google Scholar. I would start there if you want some actual, scientific backed research. Google Scholar is a great resource. Look some things up. Check out your symptoms. See what some of the causes might be. Now, be careful because Google, WebMD and Google Scholar, these things can scare you a little bit. They're always going to go over like the worst case scenario, which is important. We want to rule out the worst case scenario first, but it's a nice place to start. You definitely want to go see a healthcare specialist, though, whether it's me, whether it's your primary care doctor, it doesn't matter. Now, I find that when I have patients to come in and I tell people about the lab work, their first response is, "Oh, I did some lab work." Okay, and I tell them, "Bring it in." And I look at their lab work, and it's so basic. It's so basic. They're not looking for anything. Not that it's not helpful. It is helpful, but the labs that I do are a lot more extensive because I'm looking for a lot different things. Now, the downside to that is the insurance companies aren't going to cover it, and that's why I use a discount lab. Because if we went through insurance company, you'd get a bill for $800, $1,200. That's too much. My goal is to get this information as inexpensive as possible because it's worth much more than the dollar value that you're paying. And so I want to get a lab that's under $500, but I want a very comprehensive lab. And so that's what I do. Most of my labs will cost about half of that, half of the $500. But anyway, I've got the tools that I can help people with much more than I did, 5 years ago. And even then, when I first started practicing, I had a lot better tools than I did even before that. So I guess this is a little bit of a challenge, but a tangent, but that's what life is about. It's about learning and growing and helping other people. And that's what I really believe. That's what I try to do every day in my life, every day in my practice. So if this is intriguing to you, please reach out, give us a shout out, share this video. Thank you so much for listening. By the way, I work with a lot of mothers with low back pain, and one of the first things that we do is we do a full physical exam and we order lab work, especially if it's a chronic low back type of pain situation. And so that's one of my favorite people to work with are mothers and teachers. And a lot of times mothers are teachers. And this is just a wonderful thing that I see in my practice and the lives that we change here and the way that their health turns around is a very beautiful thing. So Please, if you need if this is intriguing to you, please contact our office. If you feel like you have a low back pain and you're having a hard time keeping up with your kids and keeping up with the housework and keeping up with your job, and you want a little bit of a break, if you're just tired and achy all the time, give us a call. We can help. Um, Shameless plug there. But anyway, I hope this was enjoyable. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and share this if you found this information valuable. Thank you again and have a wonderful day.